This study, Relationships Between Youth and Caregiver Strengths and Mental Health Outcomes in Community-Based Public Mental Health Services, aims to make more distinct the association between youth strengths and behavioral health outcomes. Currently, the research between these variables is sparse, so the researchers who conducted this study were hoping to answer 3 questions. The questions addressed were 1. What is the prevalence of youth and caregiver strengths and needs? 2. How do strengths and needs change during a service episode? And 3. Are youth and caregiver strengths at admission associated with problem, risk, and functional improvements at the end of a service episode? It's important to understand the relationship between youth and caregiver strengths and behavioral health outcomes in order to better serve those who seek or are provided mental health services. Descriptive statistics were used in this study. Descriptive statistics are used to simply describe the data acquired in a study. Descriptive statistics were used in this study because it is a quantitative study. The researchers conducted a longitudinal study measuring the level of mental health needs upon admission to the program and again upon completion of the program. The tools used to compare the two measures included chi-square, repeated measure ANOVA, and Cohen's d effect size. The researchers elected to use chi-square because this test determines whether or not there is a significant relationship between two variables. Repeated measure ANOVA was used because each subject was observed twice, and Cohen's d effect size was used because the researchers wanted to know the difference between the average mental health at the beginning of the program and the average mental health at the end of the program. Because there were so many strengths analyzed, 17, only the top 5 youth strengths will be reported. These 5 included family at 61%, educational at 59%, relationships at 54%, spiritual/religious at 49%, and talents at 49%. These percentages are an average of the before and after in each category. The youth strength with the most improvement from program enrollment to program completion was well-being, with an 18% increase. This research also focused on comorbidity of these strengths with youth mental health programs, youth risk behaviors, and life functioning. The repeated measures ANOVA and the Cohen's d measurements were used to measure the change that occurred during the program. The improvement from program enrollment to program completion in youth mental health problems, youth risk behavior, and youth life functioning was significant. These results answered the questions of prevalence of youth mental health needs, the changes that occur throughout the course of a mental health service episode, and the strengths of youth at the enrollment of a service episode and how they relate to the outcomes. The variables measured do match the research questions and hypotheses. I say this because the researchers were measuring for mental health problems, risk behavior, life functioning, and strengths, and the measures provided just that. The descriptive statistics used in this article were appropriate for this study because the way they were presented facilitates understanding better than rambling off averages and standard deviations to the layman. The variables selected are not well suited for the analytical test because there were not 2 samples of youth. There was 1 large sample that was evaluated before treatment and then again after treatment. The effect size for youth strengths was found to be D equals 0.285. For youth mental health problems, effect size was D equals 0.333. For youth risk behavior, D equals 0.331. And for life functioning, D equals 0.276. All of these categories had fairly small effect sizes. In this research article, the use of charts and tables was very appropriate. There was a table stating the percentages of children with strengths in certain categories before and after the service episode, and the percent change in these. A table that laid out youth risk behavior, youth mental health problems, and life functioning at enrollment and completion of the program with percent change. A comorbidity table, and a Cohen's d effect size, means, and standard deviations table. These tables were interpreted as appropriate because they covered all of the information necessary to answer the research questions. The contribution that this article makes to social work is the science of treatment outcomes for youth with various mental health problems. In this article, it is stated that each participant made improvement throughout the program. This could help inform practice by letting practitioners know that therapy will nearly always have positive results. Hopefully, the findings of this study will be taken seriously enough that there will be an increased focus on the mental health treatment of youth.